Hey, welcome back. So you've probably heard people talk about how we're exposed to toxins in our environment, but many people don't know what these toxins actually are. So I wanted to go through a couple of these that we come in contact with perhaps on a daily basis so that we can become more aware. So first off, have you ever heard of POPs? So POPs stands for persistent organic pollutants. These are chemicals that began to be produced at the end of World War II and were used mostly as pesticides. They are really effective at disrupting our life cycles, the life cycles of insects. However, they can also be disruptive to us. They're called persistent because they're extremely resistant to breaking down into less harmful compounds. So basically, once they're released, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. So they will continue circulating and can continue to cause significant health issues for us, including endocrine disruption, cancer, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, birth defects, dysfunctional immune systems, and infertility. Now, interestingly, POPs are only stored in fat tissues. Because of this, it's smart for us to try to remain lean through a healthy diet and exercise so we can limit our chances of keeping POPs in our bodies. Supplementing to reduce inflammation in our body is also a good idea, and we'll talk more about which supplements would be best to help do that. So let's go over another environmental toxin we're exposed to on a regular basis. Some of you are probably aware of glyphosate, which is used in the pesticide Roundup and is one of the most widely used pesticides in the world. Glyphosate has been associated with causing an increased risk of thyroid disease in farmers. It has also been shown to cause endocrine disruption, and the World Health Organization classifies it as probably carcinogenic to humans. So why is that problematic that glyphosate interferes with our thyroid? Well, the thyroid produces the hormones that regulate our metabolism, so you can probably see where this is going. If the thyroid stops functioning properly, then it directly affects people's ability to convert food into the energy they need to function. Also, people with a less active thyroid struggle with weight gain. Now, it's quite interesting to note that the obesity trends in the United States correlate with the introduction of pesticide use. Now, glyphosate is used on a large amount of the produce grown in the United States, so you have to make a conscious decision to avoid it if you'd like to limit your exposure. But the first step to doing this is choosing to eat organic food, which can have a significant impact on decreasing your glyphosate levels. In fact, a study conducted where people testing daily to see their glyphosate levels in their urine, it was found that the people who had previously not eaten organic and then switched to eating organic saw significant decreases in their urine glyphosate levels within just 3 days of eating only organic food. That's really significant because in such a short period of time, they had a remarkable decrease in the amount of glyphosate that was in their urine. Now, it may not always be possible to eat completely organic unless you grow your own food, but it's important to do it as much as possible. Because we're probably going to have some sort of exposure from pesticides in our food supply, it's a great idea to help support the organs that may be exposed. For example, the liver filters all of our blood, and because this is susceptible to damage from toxins floating in the blood, we need to make sure that we take extra care of our liver. Using a supplement such as milk thistle can act as a blocking agent to toxins, which helps to preserve normal liver function. In addition to pesticides that we may not even be aware of that we're eating, there's a common ingredient added to many foods which can cause a significant inflammation. If you guessed that I was talking about sugar, you're correct. It's not a revelation that sugar causes inflammation and damage to our organs, but many people don't realize how big of an issue it really is. The Journal of the American Medical Association published an article a few years back that stated that of people who get 17 to 21% of their daily calories from added sugar, they had a 38% higher risk of dying from cardiovascular disease compared to those who got 8% or less of their calories from added sugar. Limiting our added sugar is very important to reducing the load we're placing on our bodies. If we do eat higher amounts of sugar, that sugar acts as a toxin to our body, which does create further damage to our organs. Additionally to limiting our sugar intake, we can be proactive by using supplements that help to reduce inflammation. Lastly, many people may be aware that we're exposed to toxins even in our air, but they don't know how bad it actually is. So in a report in 2019 in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, they concluded that 130,000 people in the United States die each year from air pollution. To give you an idea, a comparison of numbers, that number is higher than the deaths of car crashes and murders in the US annually combined. So more people die from air pollution than car crashes and murders in the US every year. This study that we're talking about found that people living in the cities are disproportionately affected, which seems to be a larger problem for us today since a lot of us have moved more and more towards living in larger cities. So because we are going to be exposed to pollution in the air, we do need to have healthy bodies to be able to filter the particulate we breathe in. This particulate will cause inflammation in the lungs until our body removes it from the lungs. Then it will have to be filtered so it doesn't continue circulating in our bodies. So the kidneys are a likely place where this will be filtered. All along the way, these particles can create inflammation and other damage before they're filtered. You can see from the various toxins and pollutants we come in contact with that without decreasing their negative effects, we will be left in a constant medium to even high level of inflammation. So you ready for some good news? The good news is that we can change our habits to decrease the risks caused by these toxins. For instance, by changing habits such as exercising more, we can reduce our POP accumulation by reducing our fat levels, where POPs are stored. We can also use supplements to help decrease the amount of fat that we retain. Eating organic food will help us reduce our exposure to glyphosates. Reducing our sugar intake will limit the amount of inflammation we self-inflict on our bodies. However, even when we create these habits, we are still likely to have inflammation caused by exposure from things that we can't limit, like air pollution, by being outdoors. But through supplementation, we can decrease our inflammation that exposure can cause. Supplementing is an important part of aiding our body to neutralize inflammatory processes and supporting our organs that will take the brunt of filtering these toxins out. In future lessons, we'll be talking in depth about which supplements are best to help reduce the effects of toxic exposure, including alpha-CRS, MetaPower Assist, and MetaPower Metabolic Blend. We look forward to sharing more about how to help keep your body healthy and working its best.